There has been a spate of articles in the Western media accusing Indian intelligence of operating beyond the pale of law when it comes to dealing with anti-India terrorists. Prime Minister Narendra Modi at a political rally in Rishikesh on Thursday made his intentions very clear when he said that under his government, आतंकवादियों को घर में घुस के मारा जाता है. India's rise in the world will not be benign as many Bharatiyas expect, but will be contested by both ostensible friends and adversaries. Unbridled and a confident India is as much a threat to China as it is to the West. The question is, do anti-India terrorists based in Pakistan or UK or US or Canada or Germany also follow any rules apart from religious fundamentalism? Before 2014, India faced 3 decades of terror strikes and bloodletting at an industrial scale from terrorists based in Pakistan, but the West only asked India to exercise restraint. The UPA government in India, instead of taking on Pakistan, started playing politics with terror and coined the term Hindu terrorism. Today, the Indian doctrine to the terrorist and terrorism is quite clear. Nothing attributable or non-attributable will go unpunished. Namaskar. After flawless hosting of the G20 summit in 2023, a narrative has been created by the West and India's adversary to portray Narendra Modi government as a hyper-nationalistic regime which is not averse to breaking international laws when it comes to protecting national interests. It started with pro-Khalistan Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who in his statement to the Parliament on September 18, 2023, accused the Indian intelligence of orchestrating the killing of known Bhindranwale Tiger Force terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Surrey, Vancouver in June 2023. This was followed by a revelation of a US indictment of an Indian who was accused of acting on behalf of an Indian official to plan the assassination of known Khalistan terrorist violence instigator Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Since then, there has been a spate of articles in the Western media accusing Indian intelligence of operating beyond the pale of law when it comes to dealing with anti-India terrorists. Apart from insinuating articles and state-funded documentaries based on unnamed intelligence sources, the only piece of credible allegation thrown at the Modi government is the US indictment of Nikhil Gupta, with Canada still to walk the talk on the evidence in the case of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The fact is, even in the case of Nikhil Gupta, there is still to be a proper trial or any demand of extradition from India of this so-called unnamed official who was behind the entire show. So what's behind this smoke and mirrors game is the fundamental question. Prime Minister Narendra Modi at a political rally in Rishikesh on Thursday made his intentions very clear when he said that under his government, आतंकवादियों को घर में घुस के मारा जाता है.
आज भारत में मोदी की मजबूत सरकार है, इसलिए आतंकवादियों को घर में घुसकर मारा जाता है.
What the Prime Minister meant beyond the political rhetoric was that his government has zero tolerance for terror and Indian position against terrorism in all forms is non-negotiable. While Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar have made it clear that the Indian response to cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan will be on the lines of Uri surgical strikes, Balakot air attack, the Modi government, like others, has no intentions whatsoever to comment on its intelligence agencies or its counter-terror operations. Fact is, no one, even in the West, comments on their intelligence agencies. We still do not know what the CIA does in India, or the MI5 does in India, or the Canadian intelligence does in India. Suffice to say that those who comment do not know, and those who know don't speak to neither the political leadership nor the media in particular. The mindset behind this orchestrated narrative in the West is colonial to say the least, but it betrays the uneasiness of the past imperial powers and their lackeys towards rising India with Prime Minister Narendra Modi expected to return back to Raisina Hill on a pro-incumbency wave even after being 10 years in power and on the hot seat. Fact is that while the West does not want India to weaken beyond a certain level and to continue act as a countervailing force to China, it also does not want India to grow to such a level that it starts holding on its own in the world. Simply put, India's rise in the world will not be benign as many Bharatiyas expect, but will be contested by both ostensible friends and adversaries. The Western narrative to the Indian muscular action against terrorism and in support of national interest is in anticipation of Modi 3.0, where the focus will be purely pro-India, not pro-China, not pro-Russia, not pro-US as in the past. For an unbridled and a confident India is as much a threat to China as it is to the West, given that Bharat has been a continuous civilization for over past 5,000 years with rich culture and diversity. Although the West and even communist dictatorship like China or military oligarchy like Pakistan want India to follow international rules, the question is, do anti-India terrorists based in Pakistan or UK or US or Canada or Germany also follow any rules apart from religious fundamentalism? Did the Khalistanis follow rules when they bombed Air India Jumbo in 1985, or did Masood Azhar follow a terror doctrine when Harkatul Ansar hijacked IC-814 plane to Kandahar from Kathmandu in 1999? Before 2014, India faced 3 decades of terror strikes and bloodletting at an industrial scale from terrorists based in Pakistan, but the West only asked India to exercise restraint and also asked India to talk to Islamabad for relief, with its media acting as amplifier of the jihadists. The Kashmir Assembly attack, the Parliament attack, the Ram Janmabhoomi attack, the Mumbai train bombings, attack on Delhi, Ahmedabad, Lucknow, Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, Jaipur, and the 26/11 attacks are all reminders that India has been hit very hard by Islamists, with the West hardly ever castigating the terrorist state of Pakistan. The UPA government in India, instead of taking on Pakistan, started playing politics with terror and coined the term Hindu terrorism for its own vote bank gains. Rather than recognizing the fact that the Islamists within India were out to rip apart the communal fabric of the country, the UPA government refused to recognize the enemy within. The pusillanimous UPA government did not even react to the 26/11 massacre by the Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba group and virtually gave credence to the lie that India was involved in Baluchistan insurgency at the Sharm el-Sheikh bilateral dialogue in July 2009, just 8 months after Pakistanis spilled innocent blood in Mumbai. The certainty of a predictable, weak Indian response to the terror attack and the sanctimonious advice by the West actually followed a set pattern till Narendra Modi came to power in Delhi in May 2014. Suddenly, the cost of cross-border terrorism to Pakistan increased after the Uri surgical strikes in 2018 and the Indian airstrike on Jaish-e-Mohammed terror camp at Balakot in 2019. Fact is that even after February 14, 2019 suicide attack on CRPF troopers, the Indian RAW chief Anil Dasmana called up the then ISI chief and now Pakistan Army Chief General Asim Munir and gave him a list of Indian terrorists taking shelter in Pakistan for him to take action. Since the Indian demand fell on deaf ears, the Balakot strike followed. I must remind you that even before the Pathankot attack, which took place on January 2, 2016, the Indian National Security Advisor, hours before, called up his Pakistani counterpart, General Nasir Khan Janjua, to tell him that the Pakistan Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists were out to strike at a defense installation in Jammu. But even then, the Pakistanis refused to do anything about the terrorists that are being homebred in the Islamic Republic. Today, the Indian doctrine to the terrorist and terrorism is quite clear. Nothing attributable or non-attributable will go unpunished, as the Indian response will not be predictable or weak. Neither the Indian public nor the Indian political leadership will take the bloodletting of innocents lying down. The answer will be given in the language that the terrorists and their harborers nations understand. Namaskar.